Okay, ready? Batman, Superman, or Spider-Man, and why?
Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
I don't actually know why. I think it's just because I've seen so many Spider-Man films.
Chocolate or vanilla?
Ooh, chocolate.
Cats or dogs?
But I say cats because I've got two.
I know. This was the other. Okay, Audrey Hepburn or Marilyn Monroe?
Marilyn Monroe. I don't really know what Audrey Hepburn looks like.
Ferrari or Porsche?
Ferrari, I guess. Sounds cooler.
And this is for the audience. Brief or boxer?
Boxers. Got my cup of tea as well. Cheers.
Yeah, cheers.
No worries at all. Yeah, it's been a pleasure to work on these songs together. And yeah, they come together really quickly. So
it took less than 6 months, right? April was the first time that I contacted you.
Yeah.
It's been amazing.
I think from when I sent you the ideas and stuff, it was probably like 2 months maybe.
Once we started, it was like really fast.
Yeah, definitely. No.
So you are the man of the hour. Seriously. So you're everywhere and you've collaborated like so many people over the last year, this year?
Yeah. I think I don't know how many it is, but yeah, there's been a lot of collaborations in the last 2 years.
Well, you must be feeling that things are changing for your career, no?
Things are moving in the right direction, definitely. I think what's been really nice about the project is that it's kind of grown like, kind of incrementally, I suppose. So it's not like one thing's happening and it's like all of a sudden like I'm doing all this stuff, which would be cool, but I quite like how just the sort of numbers on Spotify have gradually picked up a bit, and my team around me, like management and booking agent, have gradually just come on board, and everything's just been really kind of just smooth and kind of, it's been a nice process, and hopefully it just continues to grow really.
Before I get into how you got there, how did everything all began? I do know that you started playing the guitar. Oh, hello.
Yeah.
Mick, right?
That one's Pam actually. Yeah, so Pam's the OG. She's the original.
Oh, you have the cat tower too.
Yeah, it's huge, and they've stopped using it as well. So it's now just
they tend to be
bit of an inconvenience.
Sometimes you buy really nice things for the dogs and cats and they never use it, and then they just play with something else like your pillow or something.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, we bought so many toys, and Mick always just plays with little pieces of plastic or rubbish. Yeah.
You started playing the guitar when you were 7 or 6?
That's it, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, and that's kind of what I said before as well. My 3 older sisters, and they all played instruments. I think 7 was the age or whatever that my parents said, if you want to learn an instrument, you can. And I really wanted to, just because all my sisters did. I just wanted to do what they were doing. And I chose the guitar for whatever reason. I think my mum played it a bit, and one of my sisters played a bit of guitar as well, and just thought it was cool. And just kind of remember playing guitar for the first time. And it sounds really lame, but I do kind of remember being tiny and having this massive guitar on me and just strumming it, just playing the open strings. One of the great things about guitar is how I do genuinely think it's really easy to pick up, to learn, and I can be quite impatient as well a lot of the time. So it kind of it suited me to have an instrument that I could straight away start playing chords and riffs and stuff on.
Do you remember first songs that you ever played?
The first songs I ever played, just kind of the classics. So it was Smoke on the Water, that riff, and the James Bond theme tune.
Oh, okay.
And then I think chords wise, it was I think Wonderful Tonight by Eric Clapton. And maybe probably Brown Eyed Girl by Van Morrison, I think. It's the kind of classic, simple songs.
So obviously you weren't into R&B or hip hop in the beginning.
Yeah, so in university basically, it was I just kind of went there as this kind of very much into guitar music, and I was a guitarist and I was in a band and all this stuff, and went there with just kind of an open mind, I guess, and just loved the experience so much, and being surrounded by so many other people who have the same sort of passion for music, but like a completely different background and completely different taste was a really enjoyable experience. And my last year of high school, no one else was studying music, so it was just me in the class. So it was quite like not lonely, but I had no one to like bounce off. And so then going to university, and that's when I met all these people who love like say R&B, soul, hip hop, jazz, and just kind of got immersed in all that.
And then you became like really acoustic singer-songwriter as Ed Black, not edbl, but Ed Black, right?
Yeah, that's around that same time as well. I think it was partly because I had to write some songs for the university course anyway, and then I thought, oh, this sounds cool. I might release some music on my own, and started releasing music as Ed Black, and did a few shows in Liverpool.
Do you have like any influence from anybody or?
Amy Winehouse, early Amy Winehouse was a big one, because an artist that I went on to play guitar for was like big into her. I started learning all the chords from like her first album, and, some really nice jazzy kind of progressions, but she kind of fashions them in like a kind of more pop to an extent, but kind of a bit of hip hop, bit of soul. Like she just uses the chords really nicely. So that was a big influence. Obviously, there's a lot of artists like sort of Lauryn Hill, Erykah Badu, D'Angelo that I got really into. I don't know if they necessarily kind of affected my guitar playing, but definitely like the sounds that I wanted to hear and the sort of type of music I wanted to make was definitely kind of in that world.
I see a lot of your Instagram story with your wife and cats and your family, friends. I'm guessing that's the biggest influence, or?
Yeah, no, it's a good question. I think probably, So I really like kind of having weekends and things like that, very much like, unless I'm working, kind of having weekends like with no music. So as in like, I'll listen to music, but like just older songs usually, or that detachment from like work and personal life. And then like you said, in my personal life, I love like just being with my wife and cats and friends and going out and hanging out. I love all that stuff. I definitely feel like I have like a London kind of family of friends. There's probably like a dozen or so people who I'm quite close with, which is really nice. And I don't know if that necessarily like influences the music I make. Maybe it does subconsciously. But I think for me, one big thing is like kind of having those like 2 days a week where you're just not really thinking about music or creating, and then
to refresh your mind. Yeah,
exactly. And then I come in on a Monday or a Tuesday, or like if it's been a holiday, come back and be like, right, let's go, like what we do today. It keeps things fresh for me. So that's quite an important thing for me.
Do you sometimes jam and come up with melody? Artists, or like sessions sort of, and then come up with the song. I think you were doing that with the
James Berkeley. Yeah.
Instagram story.
Yeah, it was a clip from last year. So generally it'll be that's kind of how I'll run sessions here, which I do a lot of days of the week. Is we'll just start jamming some like chords or a beat, and then
that's fun.
I can come up with melodies, but I think my strength is more in the kind of the music side of things. And then the artist will sing some stuff, and I go, oh, that's nice, and then maybe we do a little recording, and then listen back and go, oh, maybe that's a verse and maybe that's a chorus, and then just try and piece it together like a puzzle, I guess.
Yeah, that's fun. That's one thing I missed from like doing the remote session this way. It was no problem, like there was no inconvenience by doing like remotely, because you were really on top of it. But one thing I wish like we were closer is that like we could get together and then come up with some melody or something.
Yeah, definitely. Well, if I ever make it out to Japan, which hopefully I will, we can have a session.
Definitely. On EP, it will be the first one, but the So
I know what you mean. Yeah, that one's the most kind of like classic.
Like
edbl, I guess.
Yeah. It's like, here it is.
It's weird to say. Yeah.
But how did you feel like after listening to all of it? Like, how did you expect this sound, or is there any surprise, or like how do you feel?
Just really happy with how they come together. And I think like everything you've sent, you've always been like, oh, you sent me something like just a bounce and been like, oh, like, let me know what you think. And every time I'm just like, yeah, just give me the stems. Like, it's great. You know what I mean? So, and I'm not just saying that because I'm just like, yeah, it's fine. I like, if I thought something needed improving or, wasn't as strong as it could be, I would definitely have said that to you.
You were straight. Yeah, you were straight with me with that Perfect Sunday, the happy poppy tune.
Yeah.
I gave you 2 melody. First one, I thought second one sounds better, but then you said the first one's catchier, and I listened again, and you're right. So
and that's one of the that's one of my favorite collaboration is kind of so important to what I do, and that sort of bouncing off each other thing is always great. And I think in that sense, the way that one worked was kind of better. Not better, but like it was easier like doing it over email, because I could just like sit and like listen to one and be like, okay, that's what that is, and then listen to that one, and then just like you said, just sort of decide. And obviously we had slightly different opinions, but we ended in a good place, and that's what it's all about,
Yeah, definitely. And that was the one that you gave me, actually, the melody line over the voice clip that you said, like, you make melody, but then that was a good idea.
Yeah, the post-chorusy thing, I do like, I think, what I can, like I said, I can come up with melodies, and what I think my strength is kind of melodically, I guess, is if there's something already there, and sort of like tweaking it a bit or adding something to it, or do you know what I mean? It's the kind of like the having just chords and no melodies. That's where it maybe takes me a bit longer, or I'm not as like good or as quick or whatever as other writers, probably like yourself. But if there's something there, I can go like, oh, maybe sing this, and that's kind of how I work, I guess.
I was curious, like, you've worked several Japanese artists besides me, Kazuki Sogai and Malia, and working with Japanese, like, do you find anything different or unique?
It's hard to say. I think even within the artists that I've worked with, the circle of artists that I've worked with who are Japanese, there's differences, because obviously some people are more on it, some people it takes a bit longer to reply. That's just the same, I think, wherever you go.
Anywhere,
but I think in general, with my experience with working with Japanese artists has been mostly just quite like punctual and very polite, and everyone's really kind, and there seems to be quite good, budgets for things in Japan as well, for arts and stuff, which is awesome, and just labels as well. I think it seems like it's a slightly different setup, because I was actually with a Japanese artist this week. He actually came round because he like is between London and Tokyo. His name is Nariaki Obukuro.
Oh my God, he came along.
Yeah, really nice guy. Well, he came round this week anyway, and we wrote a couple of ideas, and it was a nice session.
Are you going to collaborate with him?
I think so. Yeah, I think that's the plan. Yeah.
Awesome.
I think we kind of spoke a bit about. I feel like there's a difference. One of the differences between sort of the UK and Japanese setup with music and stuff is it seems like a lot of people in Japan like work with labels a lot more, and like development deals, and when people like, I feel like there's more of like quite a big independent artist scene in the UK, and you can do quite a lot as an independent artist, and it's kind of not encouraged, but you can get really far without a label, and I'm sure you can in Japan as well. But it seems like most artists I've worked with, they'll be even like just starting out or at quite a small stage, where normally in the UK you'd be independent, whereas in Japan there seems to be like labels kind of backing a lot of young artists, and
Yep.
So it seems like a slightly different setup in that sense.
It really does help a lot to have some backup, you know, for promotion stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
For this project too, they helped me a lot in pointing directions. So yeah,
it's amazing.
That's good. But you do have your own label, edbl Recordings, right?
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
So, and do you have a new artist, 18-year-old girl?
Yeah.
So great.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, no, she. We had a session sort of earlier in the year, and went really well. And I didn't realize how young she was. She was 17 at the time.
Wow.
And so, but we wrote this song. It was really cool, and then she just wanted to carry on working together, and so we ended up with like 2 or 3 tracks, and then I think probably similar thing with you. I said, oh, why don't we just do an EP, because we only need a couple more songs and that's it. So we did that, and then she's just like a really, really nice girl, great writer, great voice, and she didn't have any sort of release plans, and it's kind of the perfect situation for me with the label. It's kind of why I really just to be able to like have this like young, or not even young, it doesn't matter how old you are, but just have like an amazingly talented artist, and they like have no release plans. They don't really know what to do release wise. I can put you out on my label, and we'll try and get you some playlists and stuff like that. And then just seen today the song went on New Music Friday UK, which is really cool. Just really happy for her, and happy to be putting out her music, and the rest of the stuff's coming out in the next month or 2 as well.
That's really good thing you're doing for the younger artists. Doesn't matter how old, but trying to get it out, but don't know how artists.
For sure. I think in general that is like the younger audience.
I added like last song for in Japanese.
I love it.
You said you liked it.
Yeah, I do love it. Yeah, it's cool. It's been quite funny working on Japanese music. Like I did this remix for Chiako Sato, I think her name is. Not really knowing sort of what it means. And I think at one point I did a version of the remix where I just like chopped some of the words off at the end, because I saw like musically it sounded fine, but then they sort of emailed and said like it doesn't really make sense, like why you've chopped it, So I had to change it. So it's an interesting challenge, but I think in general, like the UK, everyone I speak to, like just we really love like Japanese culture, and the whole Japan thing is like really cool to us, and like because it's so different. And
are there any challenges to do like cross-border collaboration?
The language thing a little bit, but I don't really mind that. It's just I don't really understand it, but I can just do my thing anyway. And to be fair, I think if it wasn't for COVID, I probably would have said that the kind of working virtually and doing things over Zoom and bounces and stuff would have been a challenge as well. But now, because I did a lot of that during lockdown anyway, it just kind of it wasn't that hard. I like you said, I much prefer like being in a room with someone and playing music and go, oh, that's nice, and little things that you kind of don't really get when you're just bouncing ideas over email. But like you said, it works. It's worked really well for us. It worked for the Kazuki release. So in that sense, that definitely was a challenge. And it's something I feel like I've kind of gotten used to now. So
and how cool is that? I mean, we are so far away, but it doesn't feel that way. Gave me some ideas about Perfect Sunday, the third song.
I love that one.
I gotta say that's the most popular songs among people like that.
Makes sense. It's very catchy.
But I have to say that was the least expected in a way for me to come from you. Was when I heard it, wow, it's really pop and cute.
I know what you mean. I can't remember if you sent over some references or if I just came up with some stuff. I do love those kind of chords, and it's not really my usual pocket, but it's something I really like doing. And I think what I always try and do when I'm sending over like a few ideas is just make sure each one is different from the last. And I don't know if that one was like third and fourth, but I think I always try and most of my chord structures I use like minor chords and things like that, and it's just a bit more like jazzy and a bit more soul and R&B and stuff. So but then I try and do at least one that's like major chords, which generally sounds happier and poppier, like you said. And I think that was one where I was like, right, let me do one that's like major, not minor, so we can sing about something happy.
So even now, do you compose with the guitar? Like, do you start with the guitar?
It's changed a bit I guess this year. But yeah, for years it was very much guitar centered. I'd like come up with ideas on guitar, or if I had a session, I would come up with like 3 different kind of guitar chord structures or loops or whatever. But nowadays I've just kind of just do whatever really. So sometimes it is guitar, sometimes it might be keys if I want to mix it up. Sometimes I'll start with like drums now. I'll get like a reference track and be like, oh, let me try and do a beat kind of like that. And that's quite a fun way of doing it as well. So it's just trying to like mix it up and just, there's not really a set way.
Every time I get the email from you, it's like Christmas morning. It's like, hey.
Oh, that's so sweet.
It was. It's
thank you.
Dream come true, and I can't wait to play my song in my own show.
Our song, it's gonna be great.
Yes, that'll be amazing. Yeah. And
Yeah.
also making the vinyl.
Yeah. Oh, there I am.
This is the one.
There's my face.
Yep.
Yeah, it's cool.
In UK too, you have that, or just in Japan, or?
No, just in Japan. Yeah, that's the crazy thing. There's no. I think you can buy some vinyls online here, but that's the idea that like my face is on like CDs and vinyls like in Japan is kind of mind blowing. Really, it's crazy.
But streaming is nice too, and I have to thank Spotify too, because thanks to them, their playlists, then my music is heard more than ever.
Yeah, that's it.
And that's how you got your name out, right? Spotify?
Yeah.
Playlist?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, Spotify's just been so huge and to what I do. It's just when I get added to like a big playlist. So like I got added to one about a month ago, I think, called like lo-fi something or other, lo-fi beats. And it's a Spotify one. It's one of their like, I think it's in their like top. Yeah, and it's like top 10 Spotify playlists, like in terms of like listeners, which is crazy. And so I was only in that. I'm still in it somewhere, but I was near the top. One of the Kazuki songs near the top for a week or something, 2 weeks, and straight away like the monthly listeners just went up by like 200,000, and which is really cool. But also it's cool that many people are hearing the music.
And then now you have like over 500,000 listeners monthly.
Yeah, I'm trying to stay around that. If I can stay around that number, then I can sort of do it full time, I think.
Well, you have a big hits like The Way Things Were.
I think it's kind of like a snowball kind of thing with streams anyway. Like once you get, I don't know what number it would be, but I guess once you get like 100, or maybe not, probably more now. Once you get like 1 million plays on a song, I think it starts to kind of have its own trajectory, and it just once it has that amount of plays, then it's on more release radars and more Discover Weeklies, and so like I feel like that's the lovely thing about The Way Things Were, is it's just kind of got its own kind of path now, because it's hit that number. It's kind of cozy, but it's really hard to get a song to that point.
Well, that's the way things are, right?
Nice.
In your opinion, what makes it so special though? Brixton or South London?
I'm not sure, it's I think when you're in Londoners generally, like if you're a South Londoner, you're very proud to be South London, and you don't really go north. If you don't go north of the river that much, and it's the same the other way around. If you're a North Londoner, you're like, oh, I'm a North Londoner. You kind of stay in North London and don't go south that much. So it's kind of, it works both ways. So I don't know if there is maybe like a sound, I've worked with a lot of artists from North London, and I wouldn't say there's like a definite difference between kind of north and south, but I think wherever you are kind of from, or wherever you've grown up or lived for a while, in my case, you kind of become quite proud to be like south. I can't really imagine living in North London now, you know. And then Brixton is just like an absolute melting pot of so many different styles, and you know, reggae and Jamaican culture is huge in Brixton. Not that again is necessarily influenced the music I make, but it's nice. It's nice to be in a kind of area where, you know, music is so important and so present, and it's different kind of, all these different kind of influences, you know, coming into one place, and it's cool to be around that, you know.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and you get to meet like cool artists too. You know.
Yeah, it's a great place. Yeah, a great place to meet artists. You know, there's a lot of good venues in Brixton. You know, in fact, James Berkeley, the guy who sings in Yackle, who I've just released with, his band played in Brixton like twice in the last like 2 months or 3 months.
Oh wow!
Which has been great. So I've just like walked out my flat for like 10 minutes, gone to watch them, see some friends in the crowd, watch a good support act. You know, it's the same on both gigs. I've just like watched a really good support act, seen some people I knew in the audience, had a chat, you know, and all that stuff's really lovely.
It must be a spot that everybody wants to go, right? To perform. And it's for the tour.
Yeah, it's London definitely, and Brixton has a lot of good venues as well. I think that's a good thing about London is obviously it's so vast, but like whatever stage you're at in your career, you can kind of find a venue size that suits you. You know, so some venues are literally like 80 capacity, and so you're just starting out and you want to do a little show and sell it out. You can do it, and most people don't know like the capacity of a venue. It's more just like, oh, I've just put on this gig and then, oh, it's sold out. It just like, it looks good, you know, even if it's like a small one, and, you know, then you have 80, 100, 200, 300, 400, like every size. I think there's a venue somewhere in London, which is helpful.
Do you have any specific place that you want to play in the future?
My like dream venue to play is Brixton Academy, because it's a massive venue. I'm trying to find how big it is now. The capacity is 4,900. I've got quite a way to get there, but that's like my dream. Like if I could ever play there as a headliner.
Very exciting to make it come true, huh? 4,
yeah, we'll try. I'll try. Yeah. There's loads of stuff I want to do because most of my drums are sort of programmed, and I'd love to do more live stuff.
Because you feature so many artists, like every time you go to live performance, like Pizza Express, something like there are a bunch of artists that looked really fun.
Yeah, no, doing the live stuff this year has been one of my favorite things of the year for sure. I think we had 5 features on Pizza Express, which was really good, and that's been recorded as well. I've just got the recordings back. So we're going to do a live record around that, which is going to be fun.
Cool.
Give people a taste of what to expect live. And I think on my first gig in Camden, we had 11 features, so that was pretty bad.
11, wow.
Yeah.
And each artist like sings 1 or 2, right?
Yeah, exactly. So it was very much like off and on. All the features are lovely people, and just seeing them all, like being backstage and like seeing. Some of them know each other as well, which is nice, but some of them don't. So, you know, seeing them kind of chatting and being friends, and like just the thought of like being the reason like why they're all together is just really special. And it's almost like transcends music, you know. It's just about like and
nice for people. Listeners too, like I didn't know, you know, you're a featured artist before you, but now I follow some of them, and I get to know their music, new releases. I listen, even sometimes it's not you involved. But,
no, exactly. That's another thing I love about it is being this platform for people to get discovered. And you know, some artists I've worked with are like bigger than me, further along than me, and so sort of their listeners will find me, and then vice versa. Sometimes I'll work with artists who are maybe not as far along the line as me, and then, you know, my listeners listen to their stuff. And, you know, whenever anyone asks me like, oh, have you got any recommendations what to listen to music wise, I'm always like, well, just like every artist I've worked with has like their own amazing. I mean, honestly, it would just be, thank you so much for listening to my music and supporting my music, for those of you who have. And I just can't wait to at some point come out to Japan and, meet you all and play some music out there and just see Japan as well. I've never been, so really excited about that.
I was gonna just do one song and then
it was one song and then it was two, I think, and then it was an EP
and then 4 this November.
Great.
Yeah,
nice end of the year.
I know.
Yeah.